Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session with CARIRI's Business Hatchery. I am Karen Super from CARIRI, and I will be your moderator for today's session. Today, we have 3 presentations, and we ask that you place your questions at the end of the 3 presentations. We will allow you to unmute and ask your questions. In our present environment, we recognize that there are many challenges to operate in a business successfully. We are faced not only with pandemic challenges, but also competition, increasing costs, and supply chain issues. Yet, some of us recognize that there are rewards in owning your own business. The ability to grow a legacy, enjoy the rewards of your hard work, and chart your own destiny are some of the benefits of being an entrepreneur that make all the difficulties worth it. At CARIRI, we want to provide you with tools that you can implement in your business to create a sustainable, profitable business. Allow me to introduce our first speaker, Ms. Laura Dabro, a Senior Business Development Officer at CARIRI, who will now speak to us on how we can create profitable businesses in these challenging times. Laura?
Hey, Karen, morning. Thank you so much for that. All right, give me a thumbs up if you all can see my screen. Excellent, thank you so much. So this morning we're going to talk about, where you are at in your business and basically where you want to go. Karen would have touched on some of the reasons why you're in business and so on. And I'm sure that many of you are in business because you want to grow, you want to be successful, you want financial freedom, all right? So why are we here? Why are we at this webinar? And some of the reasons are because, some of you are looking to take a risk to get into your own business, or some of you have already taken the risk to get into your own business and you have started your own business. And, you're doing this because you want to make a profit, you want to be able to be self-sufficient and so on. Some of the reasons, and later on you can tell me what are your reasons for starting your business, but some of the reasons for starting your business, you have a passion for something and you're definitely saying, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, because the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4 is no longer self-sufficient, is no longer sustaining me, it's no longer bringing me peace, right? Another reason that you could have potentially gotten into business and which is why you could be here to really get more information and knowledge is because something pressured you into having to have another income, or maybe a lot of persons have been retrenched, so and we know that the job market is difficult at the moment, so you would have started your own business to really be able to generate money and take care of your family, all right? And purpose. Some of you all, sometimes your business is your calling. It's related to the passion and the pressure, So what is your reason for getting into entrepreneurship or for becoming an entrepreneur? And I want you to think about that throughout the day and even when this webinar ends, because that can help really drive you, really help you continue along the path that you have decided to take. It also helps define how you make decisions and who you target, all right? Because depending on your passion, depending on your purpose, depending on your values, you would understand not all customers are for you. And we're going to talk about that shortly. The next reason we're here is because there was an unforeseen incident that has taken the world by storm, and that has been the COVID-19 pandemic. And a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of businesses weren't prepared for such an activity or for such an event, a catastrophic event, you know, and many businesses would have closed because they did not either change their business model or look at new customer markets, new markets, right? They did not look at new ways of doing things. They haven't changed. And we're calling the new ways of doing things and the new innovations or the new methods that you have to implement as the new normal, because moving forward, you know, you have to implement things like with the W's, right? The wearing your mask, the washing your hands, and the watching your distance. So have you implemented any of those things within your business? And apart from that, what are the new ways of doing business and conducting business? So another example, we're here today virtually. In the past, our business launchit, our launchit for business hatchery cohorts would have been in person. So we've seen that COVID-19 has thrusted a different type of marketing and a new wave of how we do business. So you have to think about, have you changed? Have you done anything differently? Are you planning to embrace the new normal and do things differently to help your business grow or survive? All right. But the first step is really identifying, why are you in business and where do you want to take this? Where do you want to go? So today, we're just going to touch on identifying your most likely customer and growing or pivoting your business. These are two areas that are often overlooked by businesses. They know it's important, but because you're maybe a one-man or one-woman show, it's like, okay, well, you know, I'll just target everybody. But that does not necessarily yield the best results, right? So today we're going to just touch on these two topics, because in our business hatchery program, we really go into more depth in these areas, and we would provide different types of tools, one-on-ones. So that's the reason we're just going to touch on it today. All right. So to begin, the major key elements of a business, especially for a small business, would be manufacturing or production, whether it is soap that you're manufacturing, whether it is cake that you're producing or making, whether it is an online app development or so on. You're developing or you're manufacturing, you're making something, right? You're doing something. So that's the first element of the business, where you have to make or create something. The next element is procurement or purchasing. You have to purchase your raw materials. You have to purchase your subscriptions. You have to purchase and pay for your intellectual property. You have to purchase different things, right? So it's important to understand what are the different areas in your business. Human resources. Some of you employ persons on a temporary basis. If you have an event, if it's Christmas time and you need some help, that is part of human resources, and you would pay them accordingly, right? In business, when you start off, you know, sometimes the business is tied to your personal assets, and you might just say, okay, well, I made $100 today, and you use the $100. So throughout the hatchery, and probably later on we'll talk about that. Try to separate your business financing and your personal financing. All right. Pay yourself a salary. Treat yourself as if you are an employee in the organization, in the business, right? So that helps you to be able to see growth in your financials, in your savings, in your money that is reinvested into the business. All right. Marketing. Now, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of entrepreneurs think that marketing is only posting on social media. But marketing is more than that. Marketing also entails, or it includes that connection, that connectivity with the client, with the customer, right? How are you going to personalize what you are doing? How is your branding? How is your message going to come across? Who are your customers, right? Doing research, getting feedback so you can make informed decisions, right? Marketing helps drive all those things. And then finance. how are you recording your sales? How are you recording your income, your expenses? How are you ensuring that your bills are paid? You know, and that's where we talk about separating your personal from your business. And then sales. So there's an age-long debate about whether or not marketing and sales go together. I think they do, because marketing can inform sales and sales can inform marketing, right? If you have persons or you are going out and doing sales, and sales doesn't have to mean going out and going to businesses or going to each customer's home and asking a question. If, let's say, for example, you're at the green market, you're at a pop-up shop, you're at a trade show, you know, and you're getting feedback at the booth. If you have someone who's at the booth, if you are doing direct sales, distribution, and so on, you know, you can have those persons get some feedback. What do you think about the packaging of the product and so on? So that can help marketing with developing the strategy, the marketing strategy, right? So all of the elements of your business, distribution as well. When you employ somebody and you send that person out, that person is representing your business, they're representing you, they're representing your brand, right? So is it that you have persons that you're hiring and you can train them and test them to see if they are representing the brand in accordance to what you would hope or like? Is it that you're hiring an external firm to do any of these things? And if you are they themselves representing their brand to a standard that you would like? And I can give you an example of distribution that could have potentially tarnished an SME's brand, a very small business. So she's the young lady produces, she makes boxes with soap and face masks and different things. And she's from South. So naturally, if you're from South, it's kind of difficult to be traversing from South to North to deliver products. So she utilized a delivery service. Now, when I received the product, packaging was ripped, it was mashed up, it wasn't good, and it was for a gift, you know. So, and it had, they wrote the address on the packaging. So imagine you can't use that as a gift anymore. You have to now repurpose that. And sometimes local products are not the cheapest. So to have to pay a lot of money for something and then you now have to do work when you're thinking you're paying for a final product. It's not exactly good customer service, right? It affects your brand. It affects, okay, don't buy from this person. That is how the product comes, you know? So I mentioned it to her, and what she did, she came to where I was and she repackaged it, right? So she did save herself in that regard in terms of the customer service, but she had to now look at her distribution channel to see if this is the person that I'm going to continue with, because clearly they can have the potential to tarnish her brand, right? So if it was somebody else and they didn't say, well, 𝐿𝐵, you know, this is how I received the product and this is disappointing, and the person just decided to say, Natalia, Karen, Cleo, look at what I got. You know, those three people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm not buying from 𝐿𝐵. You know, so how you deal with a situation and understanding all of the different elements and how it ties in to what you are offering is very, very important. Okay, and the elements can be different, can vary depending on your business, but it's generally those key areas. So going into now, how do you identify your most likely customer? Because we've been getting this question a lot. You know, where's the sweet spot? Where's the sweet point? How do we cost it? How do we identify who to target? All right. So these are some simple steps that you can consider when you're thinking about how do I get to my most likely customer. And when somebody asks you, who's your customer? You don't say everybody. All right, because while everybody, in some instances, while everyone can use your product, it does not mean that everybody is your customer purchasing the product, right? And what do I mean by that? I really identifying who your customer is, it helps you develop your marketing strategy. So an example is, I like to drink chubby, but chubby is not targeted for adults. Chubby is targeted for children. It's compact. It's for the lunch kit or the lunch box, right? So hence the shape of the bottle, hence the creative and fun design on the label, right? So I am not the most likely customer, even though I can use it, right? I don't know how many men and women we have in the audience, but Valentine's Day is coming up, all right? And I know that some persons would want to do packages and so on. So if you're doing a package and you decide to put something fun in the package, right? While a man might be purchasing it for his significant other, the significant other may not have been your customer at that point in time. They would be the user, right? So I hope that you're understanding what I mean. And if it's a face mask, you know, in the package, whilst the woman might be the user at the point in time, the man might be the purchaser. So it depends. And similarly with the chubby, the child is the user, but the parent is the purchaser. So you have to understand the difference between your user and who is purchasing, right? It can be two different persons. Another way to do research to help you identify your most likely customer, if you are already in business, you can look at your analytics, look at your social media backend, see who has been interacting with your page, what time they have been interacting with your pages, right? I would urge you, if you do not have a business page for your business, convert your account to a business page. So if it's Facebook, you can open a Facebook page. If it's Instagram, you can ensure that the page that is linked to your Facebook is a business page. That is very important, so that you will be able to see your analytics and how many people you reached and how many persons are male, how many are female, what times they're using your platform, so that you can most likely reach that person, right? And interact with the person who is interacting with your page. Yeah. You know, doing some simple research when you're delivering, when you're going out to markets and so on, that also helps you identify your most likely customer, because we can't discount somebody who is inquiring, because maybe they're inquiring now and they can't purchase right now, but they can purchase later. All right. So these are some, based on your research and the feedback that you get, then you can make some assumptions. So if you see that women are predominantly using your looking at your site or interacting with your posts, or men are predominantly looking at your posts, you can make some assumptions. And when you're doing your sponsored ads, you can set your filters accordingly. Or if you are thinking about doing a special, for example, then you have to really build out who you want to be the most. You can make assumption, okay, I'm targeting men for this. So another example is for Valentine's Day, we tend to make a lot of ads that are so pretty and everything is pink and so on, right? But if we really face the reality, whilst women say to the man, I want this, or they drive that, a lot of men, and you all could tell me after if you disagree, but a lot of men are the ones doing the purchasing at the point in time for Valentine's Day. So is your targeting reaching these men to show them that they have an option, or they have a convenient way to get a gift, as opposed to going out and looking into all of the stores, right? So that can be something to consider as part of your strategy when you're looking for your most likely customer. You really have to define what is the goal of the product or the service at that point in time, and as well as what's the goal of the campaign, right? And when you make your assumptions, then you can test your assumptions. Before you test your assumptions, you want to try developing some customer profiles, right? And what do we mean by developing customer profiles? So you have the busy stay-at-home mom, you have the single person, the young millennial or Gen Z, so they call them. You have men who are looking for convenience products. You have you have the busy working person, you know, you have the single mother. So it depends, or the single father. It depends on what you're seeing in your trends, looking at your back end, and then you can start grouping these persons and developing the customer profiles. Now, the importance of developing a customer profile is so that if you have a special, so for example, 𝐈𝐝𝐞𝐲's right now is running a special for persons in the medical field, doctors and so on, right? So they would create their marketing campaign to make that clear that there's a special free, a free lunch, 50%, whatever, for doctors and nurses and persons in the medical fields at this, between this period to that period. So they would have carved out a customer profile because they're not discounting the regular working person who needs lunch, right? But they've developed a customer profile to say, okay, we have a special for this group, right? So it's very important to develop your customer profiles and then test your assumptions to see if these are actually my customers, right? Now, you might want to target as well customers who are interacting with your page but may not purchase. So we want to find out, why aren't they purchasing? Is it that the price is too high? So instead of offering a cake for $450, is it that you're going to break it up into 6 cupcakes for $80 or $100? You know, so you're going to test your assumptions by trying to understand what the customer's problems are, right? And in the Business Hatchery, we really dive deeper into the importance of understanding the customer's problems, because that helps you to redefine your solution or redefine your marketing strategy, right? The next thing to consider is, based on the research, based on the feedback that you're getting, based on what you're seeing, it helps you in making decisions, all right? And what do you do with the information that you've received? Is it that you're going to take the customer's feedback and make some incremental changes? Is it that you're going to move on to another idea because making those changes would not be feasible for your business? And when we talk about feasibility, we're talking about, can you make the changes and still be profitable? Can you make the changes that are necessary to really reach a larger audience and still be able to maintain your production and so on in the business, right? If you are not able to do that, then you will say, okay, let's move on to another idea, or let's move on to another line of business, right? In the same group. And we can use the cake example, right? If your customers are saying, I don't have $400 to pay for a cake, an incremental change can be to do cupcakes, right? If they're saying, well, we can't pay for cakes at all, then when we're thinking about your most likely customer, we're also thinking about if that is the right customer for you as well. You know, I know that we advocate for customer being king, but at the same time, as an SME, as a business owner, you reserve the right to say, I am targeting this type of customer because this is within my scope, this is within my capability, right? You don't have to be everything for everybody. So that is just something to keep in mind. So if you're no longer making the cake or the cupcakes, it doesn't have to be that you're going into, okay, I'm abandoning food on a whole, I'm going into app development, or I'm going into manufacturing plastic cups. You know, you can think about what else you can offer in that same space using your same equipment, but reaching the needs of the customer, because that helps you to really maximize on your profits.